folks, we are here, and yes, there's actually a little bit of sunshine, so forgive me for wearing my sunglasses so I'm not squinting into the camera. It is Festival Diaries day 9, maybe 10. I really need to have it written somewhere where I can check, because the days are in some ways beginning to blur into one. I'm still at Revive Festival. It's day 2 of Revive. I know that much for sure. It's feeling nice and soft here. There's been some sun, like I said. There's been a bit of wind. It's drying out the grounds, which is awesome. And people are dropped in. People are just cruising around doing their thing. Last night we had dancing. If you're watching my Instagram stories, you would have seen dancing in Backwoods, which is the stage right in the forest. And Anavan and Blaze again, just killing it, laying it down, and the whole dance floor going off. And what I loved about last night is that it finished at 9:30. So said my goodbyes, jumped in the car, drove back to the Airbnb, and had a really chill good night's sleep. So little reflections on what's unfolding here. If you can see, you can sort of see behind me, over here. Hang on, let me get my... So this is Korero on the couch, Manaka Media, and I forget the name of the other media company. So they're doing interviews with everyone, well, not everyone, but with people. So those interviews are just on people's stories and what it's like for them in the festival scene. And just seeing it's almost like, I was just talking to Jordan, who's one of the guys behind it. It's like, what do you say? The ceremony of conversation. Just talking about how just dropping in and having conversations with each other that meander, that cruise along, that take time, that explore the deeper waters. We don't necessarily have those conversations that often. Because of the pace of our lives, and we sit and we start talking to someone and we're thinking about what to say next, and we're thinking about the next thing, and we're moving on to all of the things. And so one of the aspects that they want to bring back in is the art of conversation, of just really honouring the connections that can arise with people when deeper conversations happen, when people are not afraid to sit in silence, when people aren't speaking from that perspective of trying to prove themselves or trying to be right or wanting to push a point across, but rather when people come together with the purpose of connecting and exploring topics and learning from each other and finding out more about each other's perspectives on reality. And it's such a beautiful thing, So I'm going to be hanging out quite a bit over there, I think, and just listening to, being part of the conversations, the korero that are happening there. Body's feeling pretty good. I was quite sore when I woke up this morning, and I went over and hung out. If you'd seen my Instagram stories, you'll have noticed I was hanging out with Theo and Kara. They're 2 artists, and they're working on these big artistic panels, and there's a tree stump behind them. And so my body was feeling super sore, I was feeling really tired, and I just sat on the tree stump and did some really slow yoga, and Theo put on a beautiful playlist. So I'm listening to the music and just like kind of letting the music massage my body from the inside out and doing this slow seated yoga. And what I noticed was, like, after being there for 20 minutes, half an hour, the guys from Rawsome brought over these amazing raw, like, little samples of cakes that were extraordinary. And then the guys from the pancakes, they brought over these little samples of amazing pancakes. So it felt like, as we were sitting there, that everything that was needed, because I needed a little sustenance at that point in time, everything that was needed was just dropping in and dropping in. So that was happening, and it just, reminded me is whatever we need shows up. This clarity of desire, what we need shows up. But sitting on the tree stump, even though I'm guessing the tree is dead, sitting on the tree stump with the other tree that was in front of me and up and above felt so incredibly nourishing. And I guess this is a common theme that's happening through these festival diaries. Like, I don't know if you remember, but the last day of resolution, when I did David Zenko's sound journey, lying on the grass for like 90 minutes, I was exhausted. But after being on the grass for 90 minutes, I just felt so incredibly nourished. And there is definitely something about, again, opening to receive the life force, the moldy, the prana, chi, all these words, right, that point to the same thing, of opening to receive that coming up from the land and from the trees and from the waters and from the sky. And an aspect of being at festivals is that you're outside all the time, and even when the weather's not great, like we've had drizzle on and off for the last couple of days, although like I say, today's a lot better. Even when there's drizzle, you're outside. Like my feet yesterday were so filthy, muddy, dirty all day long, but it didn't matter. It's like, oh, I've got muddy feet, so what? You know, there's no point in cleaning them because they're just going to get muddy again when I walk across the ground, when I hit the dance floor. There's no point in trying to keep them clean. Like, why am I trying to keep my feet clean? And there's something so just easeful about surrendering down into the mud. So being outside, being in the elements, like often we live in containers, in boxes, and inside all the time. And I think there's a kind of a calibration that begins to happen in the nervous system. Like if you're familiar with psychotherapy and trauma therapy, etc., there's something called nervous system co-regulation, where nervous systems of people and of animals actually, they regulate together. And so our nervous systems are always hooking up to the other beings around us. And so it happens in the same way with trees and with the ground and with the sky, etc. And there's nothing like fucking hippy-dippy or woo-woo about this at all. It's actually a very grounded scientific thing, that there's an exchange of information that occurs. And the more open and soft and receptive we are, the more able we are to allow that exchange of information, which is incredibly, incredibly beneficial. If you think about rain falling on a really hard, like cracked dirt ground, and the way the rain can't penetrate and will run off, compared to rain that's falling on a soft, moist ground, and the rain can kind of penetrate and nourish the ground, it's like that. So the more that we as humans learn to soften and to open and to receive, then the more that we can be nourished by all the things that are around us. So that's my mission for today on, like I said, I think it's like day 9 or maybe even day 10, is to allow myself to be nourished by the festival and by the people and by all the different things going on. And just to love the process, because festival season only lasts for the summer, of course, right? So blessings to you all. Festival Diaries today, and I'll be back again tomorrow.